All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday with my man Rio. Got that LA hat, looking for a sweep tonight, or not a sweep tonight, the 4-1. What do you call that? 4-1 gentleman sweep?
Gentleman sweep. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for. Okay, I'll take a Yankees win. Give me more Showdown content. Give me more BJ Showdown content. Big prize pools out there. We do have MLB Showdown content for you. We're talking NBA though. 11 games on FanDuel. 8 games on DraftKings. They're excluding those night games when there's like an hour window. We talked about it on Monday. Love the idea. Night slate's still good over there. Showdown content, big prizes. We got you covered over here Monday through Saturday. Injury news like always, Rio. Just a weekend. Always cute takes. Big ones too, like Ja. But how you doing on this Wednesday?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Don't let the hat fool you. I'm definitely not a Dodgers fan. Just thought that it went good with the outfit today, so I put it on. But Atlanta Braves are my team. World Series has been good. I know BJ's been doing some content over there. I saw he had a big win a couple weeks ago. Hopefully we can get some more winners over there tonight. But yeah, this should be pretty fun slate. I do agree. I like the condensed start times, everything in an hour. I hope they don't do this all the time because I like having a late swap as well. But tonight, not nearly as important since we have over half the game starting at 7 p.m. and then just one at 4:30, 2 at 5. So
yeah, I'm with you. Like for us grinders out there, I mean, we like late swap. Late swap provides a big edge. Buddy healed yesterday. He was still a solid play, but when he was listed starting and no Kuminga, things like that matter in NBA DFS. And we update our projections. You need to. Every single lock time before lock, news hits. We update it. You can find it right here. Projections, ownership, Shiptimizer. You can see all the sports we have. NBA projections are updated right through there. One-stop shop. Nothing, no better price, no better deal out there in the industry. $99 usually for all access and Shiptimizer. NBA 15's going on, gets you $85 all access. If you don't want Shiptimizer, you just want all the content, $58 a month, less than $2 a day. Absolutely can't beat that. Again, MLB right here tonight. Showdown. BJ will have that up. NBA, Rio's got his slate plan up. Always, again, I'm not showing that premium. Puts too much work into that. The Stone we will be showing off, though, but Showdown content, MMA this weekend, all the sports. Shout out Nades, NHL, college football teams, Ben crushing. Free Money Sunday coming up as well. So no better spot, ShipItNation.com. That's the best deal right there. Gets you in the Discord as well. We do have NBA 15 for all package, though, if you want to try out weekly. If you just want projections ownership, we also have data only for you as well. Got to say hi to everybody out there. As always, Nate D, Ben, our man Tambo, Jason, Michael, Jordan, William, Charlie, The Realists, Nades, Evan, Michael W, Richie Smalls, Jasmine, what's up? King of Smack, Joey. All we ask from you guys, like button, subscribe button goes a long way. I see you laughing, Rio. I know why. What's going on, Richard? Jasmine always deserves the hype, though. What's going on as well, Alan? Rio, 8 games, no time to waste. But before we go game by game, like always, again, you lead the ship. I'll chime in whenever I got to say, but you spend so much time diving into all the deep analytics. Any injury stuff? Again, we have a lot of Q tags, a lot of guys already out. Scotty, Kuzma, when we go game by game, I'll say them. But a couple Q tags, Ja, Miles Turner, Wiggins, Zach Edey, DeAndre Hunter, Josh Hart, bunch of them. Anyone that you have a lean on? Otherwise, when we go game by game, it'll make more sense, the timing and stuff. Do you have to backload, etc.? I don't think necessarily that, but any Q tags you have a lean
on? Yeah, not really. I was kind of surprised when Ja got ruled out in that game because it was a thigh injury. So I don't know exactly the severity of it. If you were to miss, though, I mean, that's pretty big news, and that's the last lock window on the slate. I think you would definitely want to get to like Scottie Pippen and Santi Aldama or even Desmond Bane as well. As far as like Josh Hart goes, he's probably going to continue to play through the stuff. He's dealing with a handful of injuries. It just plays plays through them all the time because he's just an Iron Man like that. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on there, because if you were to miss, I kind of talked about it before on the Monday slate, I believe, with Miles McBride would definitely step into a really big role. And then there's pretty big injury news in the first hour of the slate, or first lock window of the slate, with the Wizards stuff and the Hawks stuff. So we'll go through that as we get there. But I think that everything else is pretty straightforward. I don't know if there's much else injury news wise that we're waiting on. I think that's it.
The Q tags, yeah. Ja's obviously the big one. Josh Hart, again, we'll go game by game. But like Claxton, there's clear teams on this slate. This first game we're going to talk about, Raptors Hornets. I think we'll get a lot of love on the front court, and Dennis Schroeder for the Nets. I mean, we saw back-to-back, but big game from a couple of those guys. Clowney was a disappointment. Will not be seeing Claxton, though. So, yeah, some interesting spots. Again, we'll go game by game. Multiple other people. Solid picks in here. What's going on? CJ, Luis, Mr. Mike's daddy, appreciate the words. Great day over here. Hope the same for you. Look at this, Rio. Awesome stuff. Hit for 1K. 80,000 people single entry because of your content. Shout out you, Rio. Shout out BJ. Shout out Ham. Shout out the NBA team. But, man, 80,000 people. Probably first place 1,000. That's awesome, Richard. K-Ped, LeBron's now Q. Someone said illness. Any thoughts? Midday illness for Bronny?
I think it was just probable.
I can't say Bronny. I gotta say LeBron.
Bronny Sr.
Yeah.
No, he's probable. I think that he's probably fine. We've seen this. Yeah, he did get downgraded, but it's downgraded to probable.
All right.
Yeah, I think he's okay.
Downgraded to probable is not a worry. Let's talk some hoops, Rio. We're gonna start again. This is the Stone game by game, the first game of the night. Going to get some love for sure. Toronto Raptors, Charlotte Hornets. We have a 225.5 total. Hornets 6.5 point favorites. Injury report on this one. Scotty Barnes is out. Quickly doubtful. Very important news right there to start. I mean, we already have the news, but obviously impacts Toronto a lot. Charlotte side, no Brandon Miller, no Mark Williams. So Nick Richard continues to be a very solid DFS play. Man, what a monster on the boards he's been to start the year. And Vasily Micic, maybe I butchered the name, but he is questionable with an illness. Not sure how much that impacts this slate, but yeah, it's going to get some ownership. As we can see, 34% Barrett, 30% Jakob Poeltl. We got ownership good this time. There's a little bug be fixed, but Nick Richard, 27%. LaMelo getting a little as well. Start with whatever side you want. Take it away.
Yeah, I'll start on the Raptors side because it's definitely the bigger news side from an injury perspective with no Scotty Barnes. I think it said he's going to be out for 3 weeks with a orbital fracture or something like that. I didn't even see the injury, but that's pretty crazy that he had that severe of an injury. But yeah, no Emmanuel Quickley, and obviously no Bruce Brown or Kelly Olynyk right now for the Raptors. So usage is definitely going to condense around RJ Barrett for sure. Grady Dick looks like he's going to get a pretty big boost. We'll see Ochai Agbaji back in the starting lineup. Probably Jamal Sheed is going to see a little bit of usage as well. But yeah, I mean the second half for the Raptors last game, they pretty much ran a 6-man rotation. They had those bench guys get in there for their normal rotation in the third quarter, and then pretty much the entire last quarter and a half of the game plus overtime was just 6 guys. So we saw RJ Barrett returned from the injury. He only played 28.5 minutes essentially, but he did see 15 second half minutes, so would have been on pace for about 30. Would expect him to get over 30 tonight, and if he does, I think he's a pretty strong play at 6.6K. Really good matchup against this team, against Charlotte, who, I mean, both these teams are pretty bad defensively right now, bottom 10 in the league. But yeah, RJ Barrett has a really pretty large sample size last season, 500 plus minutes with Scotty Barnes off the court. He had a 29% usage rate, averaged just over 42 DraftKings points per 36 minutes. And then if you even take that a step further, you could see there's about a 180-ish minute sample size with Quickley and Barnes off the court, where he had a 31% usage rate, averaging 48.08 DraftKings points per 36. So I definitely like RJ Barrett. Yeah, I'm just a little bit worried that the minute ceiling may not be as high as we need at 6.6K, but he was pretty efficient in a handful of minutes against the Nuggets the other night. So I definitely want to get to some Barrett tonight. And then Jakob Poeltl, really good play at 6.3K. Been trying to attack this Charlotte front court for the past couple of years with these weak defenders that they have down there. Nick Richards, not a great defender by any means. And last year, Charlotte was one of the worst interior defenses in the league. They've improved a little bit, but it's just a really small sample with the early season stuff. But yeah, he should be in a pretty big spot. Definitely going to see a big boost in rebounding percentage with no Scotty Barnes, big boost in usage percentage with no Quickly or Barnes. And he's been really strong this season, playing over 26 minutes a game, been right around 1.2 fantasy points per minute. So he looks like a really strong play at 6.3K. And then I think that all these secondary pieces should remain in your player pool. I don't think that any of them stand out as great plays by any means, but Grady Dick looks okay at 5.2K just because he's going to have a pretty high minutes floor and pretty solid minutes ceiling, I would say, in a close game. And probably the best ceiling in terms of DFS as well. But Ochai Agbaji's been pretty good, only 4.6K there, shooting guard, small forward eligible. But yeah, I don't really want to go too overboard with the Toronto side because they do have bodies and they've been playing a pretty deep rotation. So not looking to get to too much outside of Barrett and Poeltl. On the Charlotte side, really like LaMelo's to spend up 9.6K. He's been really good to start the year. Has shown a ceiling of 38 and 37 minutes in 2 out of the 4 games this year. Toronto's struggling right now to defend pick and roll heavy guards. LaMelo is currently 3rd in the league, averaging right around 13 points per game in that category. And it's really no surprise he's leading the team in usage, leading the team in touch time, assist percentage, all that stuff. So the role and upside is really good for LaMelo here. And then, yeah, Nick Richards, probably one of the better values on the slate, 4.8K. He's been playing really well lately. Minutes have been really good. I talk about all the time, like to attack Jakob Poeltl. He's a weak defender, so like Richards a lot. And then I think like Bridges is okay to keep in your player pool. It hasn't really, the usage has been really, really low for him to start the year. Minutes are always going to be pretty strong for him.
For who?
And then Miles Bridges.
Okay.
And then, yeah, Cody Martin and Seth Curry, I think, remain your player pool as well, but both also low usage guys. I don't mind Seth Curry just because he can get hot, but he's a very, very streaky shooter.
Dude, this game, like if you had an overstack a game, this has to be it. There's so many options on both sides. Like, I don't mind Seth Curry at 3.9K at all. Trey Mann, he solid start to the year. The last game, only 17% usage. He got there on efficient shooting. First 2 games, 30% usage, 35%. Definitely can. I mean, he's a hooper. Little fella, can put the ball in the hoop, though, so I never mind Trey Mann. If you had to pick one, we have center is very loaded. Absolutely. 2 of the most popular center plays right in this game, Jakob Poeltl and Nick Richards. Obviously, different pricing, 1,500% gap. Can play them both together, but if you had to pick one, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I think I'd probably lean Poeltl just because I think that we could expect a pretty high minute ceiling for him, and he's got like true 50-point upside in when things go right for him. I don't know if Richard necessarily has that. I think that he's probably topping out at like 36, 38 DraftKings points, which would be great at the tag, but Poeltl, 6.3K, if he got you a 50 ball, you would definitely need him in your lineups.
What's going on, Dakota? Hope you're doing well. Just a cute little fella's right. That's what Trey Mann reminds me about there. Cody, hey, that's a good question. Clown Show or Cody Martin? I saw Nate's chirping. That's Clowny for those that didn't play yesterday. He got some ownership. He absolutely busted. No Claxton again. Who would you pick?
Man, I don't really love either of them a lot, but I guess
Then
Cody Martin.
Go this guy then. Yeah, go Martin.
Yeah. It's pretty gross. We'll talk about clowning the last game, but yeah, I don't really love either of them particularly tonight.
I don't have much more to add. I mean, LaMelo's used to he's just chucking. Man, he looks good. He has some swagger about him. That 67-point upside he showed night 1, definitely in play. So he's going to be popular though. Like this game is going to get a good bit of ownership as you see on the Stone. Your stats about RJ Barrett were very interesting as well. Made me like him a little more than I initially did, but he's also going to be on. I guess, all right, let me say before we get to the next game, LaMelo, RJ, Richard, Jakob Poeltl, who would be the one you had to fade if you had to pick one?
Probably RJ Barrett because I just don't see him getting a ton of minutes tonight, and he should be coming in with a good amount of ownership. I do like him, but it's not cheap for somebody that might be capped at like 32 minutes.
Good answer. I like it. The answer makes a lot of sense. Let's keep it rolling to the next game on the slate. We have the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. 225 total. We have the Cavs 4.5-point favorites. Injury report in this one. D-Russ is questionable with the back. Obviously would be very important. He's had a solid start to the year, man. The Lakers under Redick. There was that one Twitter video. How many screens the ball hardly hit the ground, just it ended in the back door to Reeves from AD. It was so sick. Very fun to see Redick out there, but D-Russ questionable. No injury news on the Cleveland side. That is important. So, I mean, talking center, yeah, our man Josh says it in chat. Anthony Davis, center is going to be loaded. AD can't. He's not going to be low owned, but what do we have him at? I mean, maybe this is 10%. Projections are ownership projections definitely hard in NBA, but double center is so tough today. Spending up for AD will be contrarian. Has had a monster role. You've always mentioned Mobley. I think everyone outside of AD will be low in this game. So any low plays we can get to.
Yeah, I'm kind of in line with the ownership in this one. I kind of see this being more of a defensive battle. Both these teams pretty strong defensive teams. I do agree with you. JJ Redick been a really big upgrade for them. I mean, anything is an upgrade over Darwin Ham, but JJ looks like he's the real deal. Their offense looks really good, but yeah, this is definitely one of the toughest matchups of the year so far for the Lakers, I would say. I mean, you have all the size in the front court with Mobley and Jared Allen. Dean Wade is actually a really solid defender, and then you kind of have Garland and Donovan Mitchell that kind of buy into the same defensive scheme, so it works out. So not really looking to get too invested into the Lakers side. I definitely agree that AD, he has the highest upside in the slate. There's no doubt about it. He's the highest priced, and for good reason. He's been really good this year, has one of the best roles. I think he's an MVP candidate as well with how good he's been playing. But yeah, first in the team in usage, 30%, 6 in front court touches this year, which obviously tells a story that the Lakers want to run the offense through him. But yeah, I think that the matchup, I mean, offense definitely trumps defense, but this matchup is definitely enough for me to not want to go like all in on AD, because I do think that Jared Allen and Evan Mobley are just two of the better front court pairings that you could probably match up with for a guy like Anthony Davis. So yeah, like him, don't love him. Kind of same for LeBron. I don't know if he's not showing his age, because he's definitely like the same player that he's been for the past 5 or 7 years, but just hasn't really been needed as much. He had a huge game against Sacramento. I feel like he always has big games against Sacramento, but yeah, I'm not sure. Like, he's similar price to like Paulo, who's 20 years younger and has the same role essentially.
So that crazy to hear. 20 years younger.
Yeah.
Comparing the same price guys. Yeah, I mean, shout out LeBron, but he's someone I think this year, until I see an injury with this, like the fully healthy team, I'll lose on those Sacramento nights for 70. It has not been 22 usage, 22, 24. That game he got up to 34. Like, maybe you see those spikes when he wants to do it, but man, it feels like it's AD's team, and the other guys have big roles too. So keep going. Sorry to interrupt.
No, I agree 100%. You pretty much said what I was going to say. So if anybody has questions about it, I would just defer to title there. But yeah, I agree. I do like Reeves here at 6.3K. He's good to go. They had a couple guys on the injury tag. I think D'Lo is good to go as well. Never really looking to play D'Lo, but yeah, I mean, if these guys, Anthony Davis, LeBron, were to get limited at all by the matchup, Reeves has been really good this season. He's going to have to step up a bunch. JJ Redick has been talking him up. Going to be guarded by probably Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, which are two of the easiest matchups in terms of starters for the Lakers. So I think that he's a pretty strong play at 6.3K. Going to be unowned, and he's got the shooting guard eligibility, which is good. Kind of the same for Rui. Less interested in him just because there's usually some pretty strong plays that condense in that low 5K range, but he's been really good.
Yeah, he has. Besides the swing that motherfucker, besides that time, he's been so good for him, man. I've always been a Rui guy from Zaga. Steady.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. I liked him when he was in Washington. I always thought he had a good amount of upside, so I'm happy to see him find a role with this team. But yeah, he's gonna be guarded by Evan Mobley, so that's enough for me to get away from him. And then on the Cleveland side, I don't have a ton of interest in them because the Lakers transition defense has not been good to start the year, and the Cavaliers' new coach wants them to play with more pace, so they're going to get out and run. you could make a case for Donovan Mitchell at 8.5K, but the minutes just aren't there right now. It looks like they're really trying to ease him in to the early season, so I'm not really looking to get there, but matchup is pretty good. And then, I think like I said it last time with Mobley, you can always consider him because the role is good. He's going to get more front court touches. But I do like Darius Garland 6.9K. He was really good against the Knicks the other night, going to be unowned. He's going to be matched up with D'Angelo Russell, which is the best matchup for the guards. Probably got the highest minutes ceiling out of all the starters as well. So I think that you could definitely mix in some Darius Garland to your lineups. But that's pretty much it. Not a ton of interest in this game as a whole.
I'm with you. It would just be Garland or Mobley on that side. I love everything you said about Reeves. What's going on? Could be Travis. Yeah, I messed it up. Swing. That's what he said. Not swing that, but AD not playing Bron. The Rui stuff. 5-4 is a fair price tag, and ownership would be low. Like, I think ownership in this whole game in general will be low. And like you said, I think Garland, Mobley, Rui, Reeves, AD, 5 viable-ish plays. I definitely don't want more than 2 of them. Usually 1 max probably would be ideal. But if I got like a Reeves, AD or something, and I liked my team, like I wouldn't say no to that. But yeah, more of a defensive game. It's hard to get to Bron at 9K for me. D-Mitch, you mentioned the minutes concern, so rather stay with Garland. Nothing more for me to add. Let's keep it rolling. Next game on the slate, we have the Boston Celtics taking on the Indiana Pacers. 235 total, the biggest on this 8-game DraftKings slate. Important injury news, Q-Tag on the Pacers side. Miles Turner questionable with an ankle injury. If he's out, Isaiah Jackson's always a name I enjoy clicking in DFS. Nothing on the Boston side. I guess I'll throw it to you right on that. I mean, Pacers have been disappointing. I shouldn't say that. Tyrese has been disappointing. But Miles Turner injury, if he is out, Isaiah Jackson, do you think he'll be out? And then actually, even if Miles Turner's in, do you have interest at him as a very low-owned center spot? 6.4K feels fair. Start with Pacers side for me and Turner.
Yeah, I wouldn't have too much interest in Turner. I think the thing that was kind of getting me on him in like a couple of games ago, I don't want to say like earlier this season because we're only 4 or 5 games in, but he was playing like 36 minutes, and he's always been a really good fantasy point per minute producer. He's got the steal and block upside, good 3-point shooter. So that was always getting me on him earlier in a couple of games ago. But he did get limited last game. Only played 28 minutes or 26 minutes, and then played 23 in the game against New York. But that was a huge blowout. So I don't really want to get to anybody on the Pacers side. I definitely think if Turner were to be out, you'd probably just lock in Isaiah Jackson because he does a little, like, he's really good fantasy point per minute or just a good fantasy play. I actually think you can keep in the player pool as is because if there's a chance that like Miles Turner re-aggravates the injury or anything like that, it's pretty much him and Miles Turner splitting the center minutes down the middle. He played 22 last game, played 15 against New York. I mean, if you got 20 out of Isaiah Jackson, 3.8K is good. Yeah.
Today's center slate, you'd be good with it?
I think so. I mean, he's a pivot down from cheaper than Nick Richards. And yeah, I think like the upside is definitely there. I'm not saying like go overboard and play him, but I'm not Xing him for my player pool at all because I do think that it could be like a 60-40 split in favor of Miles Turner if he does play.
That makes sense. Good. Yeah, great fantasy point per minute producer. He'll be less than 1%, maybe 1% with Turner in. So can't hate that. Keep it going.
Yeah, but I mean the Pacers game environments haven't been as good as they were last year. I mean they were playing just the fastest pace by a pretty wide margin. This season they're not really playing with the same pace. They did pick it up last game against the Magic, and the season totals I believe will start to level out as the year goes on. But yeah, right now the game environments have not been great. This one should be good though because we do have. I think this is the highest over/under on the entire slate. It's pretty easy for me on the Boston side though. I definitely want one of Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown in a handful of my lineups, like over 50% on lineups. I would say I want one of these guys because I do think that one of them gets there. We just saw what Paulo did against his team. Tatum has been really good against this matchup against Aaron Nesmith. Nesmith is a pretty strong defender, but Tatum has had no issues in this matchup. He averaged pretty much 60 DraftKings points last season in 4 or 5 games. Averaged 32.5 points, 11 rebounds, almost 6 assists. Yeah, I think he's one of the better plays on the entire slate. And then Jaylen Brown, I just want to – he's just kind of like a bet against Tatum or just a bet on this Celtics team. I do think that one of these guys gets there in a pretty big way tonight. And then I'm not really looking to get to these secondary pieces. I think you could always keep Peyton Pritchard in your pool because we know what he can do in limited time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The three-point defense is always going to be the strong point for the Pacers defensively. I want the guys that are going to be attacking the rim, so that gets me on Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, don't like picking on Nembhard. Good defender. Tyrese is fine. Neesmith, solid defender. That makes sense. Man, Jaylen Brown, he's the guy if I had to pick one of this game. Always can be Tatum, Brown, or Brown. 1,400 on DraftKings, though. Almost 2,000 on FanDuel, the savings. And I would, you said, make a max one of those two, right? Like you always do LeBron AD on big slates?
Of Brown and Tatum?
Yep.
I don't know if I would make that rule. I do think that they both can get there in the right game environment because we did see like Suggs and Paulo got there, obviously different price tags, but I think like if you got 55 from Tatum, you'd be happy with like 45 from Brown in the same lineup. So I don't think I would set a rule against them.
Think there's enough value? Cheap value? Yeah, there's probably enough to get those two. Yeah,
I'm not against them in lineups, but I don't think you're going to be getting a ton of them in both like together because there are a good amount of plays in that mid tier to kind of get you Tatum plus somebody else not named Brown.
Yeah, no, I agree. Most lineups roster construction wise right now will go. I mean, we don't even have like the spend ups on this slate. The highest price guy in this slate is 10.2K in AD, so you're forced to go more mid tier. Some of the 4 or 5K options are good. Yeah, Jaylen Brown would be my favorite in that game. Definitely one most will pass in the industry and myself as well. I don't see that game beating us. Let's keep it rolling. Again, almost 300 watching. Appreciate every single one out there. All we ask is like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. If you're not a member, I don't know what you're doing. NBA 15 is the promo code right now. Otherwise, if you go all the way to SHIPIT Nation, you'll see a banner right here, $85. Promo code's in there. Get you our optimizer. The Shiptimizer also gets you every single piece of this content, all the sports going on right now. No better time to join. Right now, you're looking at the Stone one-stop shop. We have it for all sports. No better piece of content. Shout out to DGen bringing that over. The Stone knows what you're looking at. All the other content. Slate Plan Rio breaks down his ranges, big blurbs on all the players that he likes. GPP Core Report if you want to see who BJ, Ham, Nate, and our man Rio's on. If you want to see who Nate's is on, go to the Discord and ask them. Cash report on both sites, projections, ownership updated throughout the night. Let's keep it rolling. I like this game for DFS Rio. Not the biggest total, especially compared to the last one, but totals don't mean everything in DFS. 219 for the 76ers and the Detroit Pistons. 76ers 4.5-point favorites in terms of injuries. Embiid out. You're saying that a lot this year. PG also out. Nothing on the Detroit side. You've mentioned Cade Cunningham a lot to start the year, Rio. Man, does this look like a fun spot to play Cade at low ownership? Like hardly anyone's going there. The price is fair at 8.7. That's kind of the reason, though, like why playing Tatum and Brown would be hard for me is like LaMelo, Cade, just feels like there's Tyrese on the other side. Guys that do feel like more likely to go 60 plus than both Tatum and Brown going 60. But we're past that. This game looks great. Andre Drummond, little narrative right there, little revenge stuff if you want to look at that. Tobias Harris, little revenge stuff right there. I mean, man, this game looks fun. I like Tyrese. I like Cade. Take it away, though. I think there's a plethora of guys in this one.
Yeah, I really like this game too. First off, just want to start out by just saying how impressed I've been with the Pistons. I don't think that the record of 0-4 really tells the whole story because they've had a really tough row of teams that they've had to play to start the year. They played Boston, Miami, Cleveland, and Indy, which were all playoff teams last year in the East, and they've made all those games competitive. Detroit was kind of the laughingstock of the league last year. Their defense was terrible, but they've really kind of bought into the new defensive schemes. JB Bickerstaff seems like he's kind of turning things around there. Their rim defense has been really good. Shout out to Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, two guys that probably got a little bit more negative attention defensively than they were deserved. I always thought Beef Stew was a really good defender, but Duren, he's young, really athletic, and just a freak of nature athletically. So yeah, Detroit, they look like they could be good in the next year or two if they get some more pieces. So I like them. But yeah,
Cooper Flagg. Just stay down there. That'd be fun.
Yeah, capture the flag. But yeah, I do agree with you. I like Cade a lot tonight. I like him on pretty much every slate just because I know the ceiling is eventually going to be like very soon he's going to be hitting 50 with ease. And this seems like a pretty good spot to get a true ceiling out of him. He's shown a very good floor. I don't think he's scored less than 43.5 DK points once this season. When everything lines up, he's going to have those huge games, 60, 70 pointers, I believe. And the Philly defense has really been struggling this year. Don't really have any interior presence. Andre Drummond has never been the best rim protector, pretty solid shot blocker, been getting a ton of steals this season. But yeah, I mean, and also the pace of play for Philly has been way up there in comparison to how they would be if Embiid or Paul George is playing, because both those guys kind of like to slow things down, whereas Tyrese Maxey loves to get out and run. So I think we could see a sneaky shootout game here. Really like Cade at 8.7K, single-digit ownership. I'm going to have a ton of him. I think Ivy should be in your player pool. They've been doing a good job staggering him away from Cade, so he's been getting some of that second line usage. So he looks pretty solid. I don't really want to play Tobias Harris because he's going to be just standing in the corner launching threes, and you don't really know when he's going to make them or not. I don't really care about the revenge. He's just not the type of guy I would buy into on that narrative. Tim Hardaway Jr. I think is okay at 4.4K as well. And then did want to mention Jaylen Duren. I talked about him at the top of this game, but yeah, somebody in Discord mentioned him as a pivot off of Drummond because Drummond should be getting a good amount of ownership. I'm seeing like mid-teens on him. Yeah. But the Sixers have given up some really big games to opposing bigs. I don't have them listed right now off the top of my head, but they've given a big game to Brook Lopez. Jakob Poeltl had a big game. Miles Turner had a pretty big game. They're giving up a ton of blocks and steals to opposing centers right now. So I think Duren at 6.6K, that's, he was at the like 7K mark, I believe, to start the year. This looks like a pretty solid spot to buy in on him. Andre Drummond, just a weak defender. Their rim defense is bottom 4 right now, the Sixers are. So pretty into Jaylen Duren and Cade tonight. On the Sixers side, really like the spot for Tyrese Maxey. He's got a really high just true scoring ceiling, I would say, in this one. Hasn't been great finishing around the rim to start the season. The interior defense for Detroit, I mentioned, is improving a lot. So he may have a tough time getting there, but pick and rolls have done a really good pick and roll scores have been really effective against the Pistons this season. They were really good against them last year. Maxey is currently 5th best in pick and roll scoring right now from a points per game perspective. Probably going to see 40 plus minutes from him in a close matchup. So I think this is a pretty big spot for Tyrese tonight at 9.2K. I don't really like Drummond tonight, even with the ownership. I know what type of ceiling he has, but he's been just can't keep his hands to himself right now. Has been fouling really early into games. The rim defense for Pistons really good, so I don't think that he has a advantage there. Yeah, I'd be okay getting away from Drummond tonight at pretty high ownership. I do think that Kelly Oubre has some sneaky upside in this spot. That's your boy, 6.4K. He showed the scoring ceiling a couple of games ago, went for 28. Real points, 37 DraftKings points against Toronto 2 games ago. The Pistons giving up a good amount of catch and shoot scoring right now, so that's kind of his game. He does a little bit of everything too. Can get a good amount of steals if things are going right for him. So I like Kelly Oubre, and I think Caleb Martin is a very, very strong value play at 5.1K. Minutes are going to be really good for him. You don't really get a lot of guys in that low 5K range that are playing 36, 37, 38 minutes. So I think that he's a very strong play tonight.
And will be one of the more popular value plays on the slate, I will mention. Great breakdown, Rio. Two things stood out. Kelly Oubre, Hooper. I mean, I can always talk me into Kelly Oubre. Very fair price tag at 6.4K, a guy that's gone for 50 multiple times. Absolutely like that. Tyree, the other thing that stood out was your Duren's call. Yeah, like the other, he's going to be super, super low owned. On the other side right there, and Drummond's going to be way more popular. You don't even like him that much. Duren's always a guy I've loved. Now, one question for you. Is it going to be about 30 minutes a game, you think? It's going to stay right around there and Beef Stew gets the other 18-ish?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think we're going to be getting those like 36 minutes from him right now.
So we got 35, 24, 32, 34. He's shot the ball efficiently, but his usage is so low. Like they're all dunks and stuff anyway, so that should continue. 11, 9, 7, 13 boards. Missed out on the double-double twice, pretty close. What's his upside? And when he's on the optimal, how many times he gets there? What's his true upside this year, you think? 45, 40-ish?
Yeah, I would say like 45. Would definitely need the double-double and probably mix in a few blocks and steals, which is definitely possible. Yeah, I don't know. I always have interest in Duren just because I feel like there was a stretch last year where he was just putting up like 55, 60. Yeah. And I think this is a pretty good spot for him. I mean, the Sixers, I kind of want to be ahead of the curve when it comes to early trends, and I think this is a pretty good spot to buy in on Duren.
Yeah, I mean, you don't got to twist my arm, especially when we're looking at this type of ownership. Center's loaded today. I do like it. Yeah, we talked about Maxey. Our man Nate said Caden Maxey ping pong. That would always be fun. Yeah, there it is right there. A lot of good plays in this game for sure. Just like there was in the first game, Toronto and Charlotte, which I said might be my favorite overstack. I don't know. I might need to take that back because this Atlanta-Washington one is pretty good as well. Getting into that one, Wizards Hawks, we have 233.5, the second highest total on the slate. 233.5. We have Hawks 6.5 point favorites. Important injury news, Atlanta side. DeAndre Hunter's been questionable, continues to miss, so that's very interesting. Now Dyson Daniels is out. Bogdanović has been out. So this DeAndre Hunter questionable tag, very big with Dyson Daniels now out. Other side with Washington, no Kyle Kuzma. Jordan Poole's been a monster. Shout out Sean. You will not be getting low-owned Kyle Kuzma today. Low-owned Jordan Poole today. He will be coming with a very healthy ownership. Outside of that, though, I'm just going to list a handful of names that I think are very good. Always Trae Young, under 10K. Jaylen Johnson, that's our boy. We talked about Koulibaly on length on Monday. Very fair. That Reichshire guy that I absolutely probably butchered his name again, the French dude, 4-4, only gets better if Hunter's out. Yeah, that's Joval. Talk a little bit about Joval too. He got some ownership yesterday, projecting pretty well, but again, center's loaded. Take this game away. Kispert too, another name for you to talk about.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of names in this one. I don't want to. I mean, I could spend a lot of time talking about this guy. I think there's a couple different angles. I don't want to spew out too much word vomit, but this is easily the best game environment on the slate to get multiple pieces of. Yeah, so I'll start with your question on Joval. They had him in the starting lineup last game alongside Sarr. I think they'll do that again here. Probably need his size against Okongwu and Capella. Joval's always been a really good point per minute producer, so I definitely have interest in him at 5.8K. That seems like a very strong value. No Kuzma is obviously going to funnel a ton of usage to some guys on this team. Poole, the most obvious one. He's been very efficient as a shooter this season. Hasn't really added too much of the peripherals. Been right around 5 to 6 assists a game. Kind of want to see those numbers come up a little bit. I mean, I feel like 40% owned Poole and not cheap either is kind of seems like a spot for me to get away from. I don't necessarily think that he's going to hit the optimal 45% of the time or whatever it is. So I'd probably end up underweight Poole. Definitely hard to say negative things against him other than he's just Jordan Poole and can get cold, and get benched too. I mean, this team could definitely bench him if he's not playing well. But yeah, I mean, he's going to lead the team in usage. He leads the team in assist percentage as well, averaging 1.22 fantasy point per minutes per game points per minute with Kuzma off the court. No Dyson Daniels definitely improves his outlook as well because Daniels is a very, very solid on-ball defender. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that it could go wrong with Jordan Poole. So that's kind of I feel like that's where you have to start with your lineups is decide whether or not you're going to play him and how you're going to leverage against him if you're not playing him. I think that Koulibaly is a very strong play at 5.2K, but I will just say that he really good defender. I like what I'm seeing from him. He's going to be guarding Trae Young. It seems like their minutes were pretty much tied together. But we know that Trae Young is a very, very good foul drawer, so that could go wrong very quickly as well for somebody that's going to be guarding him the whole game. I don't think that I would want to have if I had Trae Young, I don't know if I would want to have Koulibaly in those lineups just because I think that a lot of the big games you see from Trae, he has double-digit free throw attempts, so that would kind of tell me that Koulibaly is getting into foul trouble. So I would probably pair them away from each other. And then Kispert, I think that he's probably like the most well-rounded player on this team for the Wizards. Like I think that he would be.
It's bad when Corey Kispert's your best all-around player.
Like he's the only person you could take away from this team and put him on a contender, and he would actually be getting meaningful minutes. I would think he's a very good 3-point shooter. Good cutter as well. I think he gets he's been highlighted as like one of the best cutters in the league in terms of like backdoor cutting, kind of like Aaron Gordon type of plays. But yeah, he's a really solid all-around defender or all-around player. I just don't know how much they really want to give him because this is a young team. They got guys that they want to get involved, like Keyshawn George and Bub Carrington. So I think in a close game environment, then Kispert makes a ton of sense. I like Kispert a good amount. Just trying to think about how you'd want to set rules for that because I don't know exactly who he would eat into. There's a couple guys, like it could be Carrington, it could be Coulibaly, it could be Poole. So probably like
playing with Trey, and then naturally you don't like Coulibaly.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense right there. I like that call. And then Bub Carrington, I think that he probably slides back in the starting lineup. Another guy I want to be ahead of the curve on because he's been pretty bad so far to start his career, just not really shooting the ball that well, but he does have multi-stat upside. We've seen it from him in college. We saw it from him in the preseason. He can kind of flirt with a triple-double when things are going right. Not saying he's going to do that tonight, but it is within the range of outcomes for him when he starts to get more minutes. And no Kuzma is surely going to trickle down some usage his way. I do think Sarr is an interesting play at 5.3K, starting alongside Joe Val. Definitely going to be competing for a rebound, so I don't know if I necessarily want them together. But, yeah, I mean, this is like the number 1 or 2 overall pick, so he's eventually going to show out. I think this could be a good spot for him. On the Atlanta side, I agree with you. I think Trae Young, one of the better plays in the entire slate, kind of got shut down last game against Coulibaly, shot 2 for 15 from the field, but salvaged his night with 13 assists, 8 rebounds. Not expecting that many rebounds from him on a nightly basis, but the double-digit assists we could probably expect most times. Jaylen Johnson kind of reminded everybody why we're paying this much for him. He had a huge game, almost 60 DraftKings points, put up 29, 7, and 12. Price didn't really move all that much either, so he still looked pretty good at 7.9K. And, not having like Dyson Daniels or Vit Krejci, another guy that's going to miss a handful of weeks for the Hawks, another rotation piece. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much Trae Young and Jaylen Johnson doing everything for this team. Like they have the ball in their hands. I think Jaylen Johnson is 3rd in the league in touches per game. These guys are great plays. You don't need me to tell you that.
How much do you think that changes when DeAndre Hunter's back? Because game 1, 22% usage rate for Hunter, or actually 19-22, and the second game was good for him. Do you think that affects him anyway negatively? It only helps him? Can space the court maybe a little more?
Yeah, I would say it probably helps his like the assist numbers a little bit for Hunter or for Jaylen Johnson, because either way they're going to be running the ball with those two. Like whenever Trae is off the court and Jaylen's on, the ball is in Jaylen's hand because they don't have another point guard on the roster really. Like they have Keaton Wallace who plays a handful of minutes, but outside of that, like it's pretty much Jaylen Johnson running that like LeBron, Paulo Banchero type role when Trae's off the court. So it doesn't. I don't think that like anybody being on or off like really affects him negatively. I'm going to be max 1 Capella Okongwu tonight. Definitely prefer Okongwu because I think that the ceiling is much higher. If Hunter were to miss Risache, I think Risache might start regardless. Because they've ran that like 3 forward lineup with Hunter, Risache, and Jaylen Johnson before. I think they'll be comfortable doing that. This guy's the number 1 overall pick, so they're gonna want to get him involved early in the season. Kind of let us down last game when he got the start. Only put up 17.5 fantasy points, if I remember, 17.25 fantasy points. But yeah, I mean, no Dyson Daniels and no Vit Krejci is going to open up a ton of minutes. So I think that Risache is a guy that's going to benefit from that, regardless of Hunter playing or not. And then Garrison Matthews, another guy that has a chance to start, regardless, should play a good amount of minutes. And it's a very good spot for 3-point shooters against this Washington team that's one of the worst in the league. So I like Hamwich's boy, Gary Bird.
You can say that he's my boy to an extent too. He's been one of my sneaky dudes. The dude can fly and he has a jump shot. Like, it's a weird looking jump shot. So is mine. Maybe that's part of the reason I liked him. He can absolutely fly, though. Yeah, he's 3.3K. Almost nobody's in play in that range. If you want, like, talking back to Jaylen Brown Tatum, it's not the best example, but just say you want an AD and Trey or something like that. Garrison Matthews at 3 threes away to get those 2 builds up or 2 stud builds when most won't be going there. So, yeah, I will never hate on Garrison Matthews. Ricochet, right? Ricochet?
Yep. There it is.
Next time I know I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm gonna keep repeating it until I get that down for the season. Any Nance thoughts? Okongwu's back, so no Nance. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. David Roddy, though, another guy to keep an eye on if Hunter were to miss. He's been playing pretty good off the bench. Probably a chance that he even mixes in for some guard minutes. He's not that tall, so he could definitely mix in there. But yeah, if Hunter misses, Roddy is a pretty strong value as well at 3.5K.
Yeah, nothing really more to any lean on Hunter status, whether it's Q or not, or in or not.
Not really. I mean, I think they might be cautious and hold him out because he's got that. It's a knee inflammation, if I'm not mistaken, and that's I mean, he's kind of dealt with knee injuries his whole career, so I wouldn't be surprised if he misses. And if that's the case, then you probably get 2 to 3 guys on the Hawks, probably getting Ricochet, one of Jaylen Johnson, Trey, and then probably Gary Bird in your lineups, and kind of just going from there.
One last name, Keyshawn George. I think you talked about him a little bit, but you like him more than Garrett. He's showing with some ownership. Small forward's not great, and he's cheap. Like, Garrison Matthews is a pivot there, but like, how much better, I guess, is this George guy than Matthews or the other cheapies today?
I wouldn't say he's much better. I'd probably prefer Garrison Matthews. I don't see Keyshawn George getting, like, I don't know. He's just super low usage. I know what Gary Bird's going to provide. He's going to be launching threes, and he's a good 3-point shooter.
Yamming on people's heads. Come on. All right, we'll keep it rolling. Such a great game to target. Love the Jaylen Johnsons, Treys. You made cases to fade the chalky pool. Joe Valfi starting. Awesome work right there. 2 games left on the slates. We have Chicago Bulls taking on the Orlando Magic. 229 total. Magic 5.5-point favorites. I just skipped.
Yeah, skipped over the Knicks game.
You want to do this game first? We'll do Knicks.
Yeah, this one is pretty quick, I feel like.
But this one's really quick. Yeah, that's why I skipped it. I got nothing. Knicks Heat, 215 total, 1.5-point favorites for the Knicks. Injury report, nothing on the Miami side. Josh Hart, questionable. You were assuming he plays. I guess I shouldn't say anything, but it's Cat, I think, or Jalen Brunson. I don't like the Miami side. I don't even love Brunson. Like, I like LaMelo more. I like Cade more. I like Tyrese Maxey more. I like – what other point guard we just – I like – Poole's chalkier. Trey, moral of the story, I like a lot of other point guards more. I do like Cat, though, and center's loaded, so he'd be my favorite. What do you differ or agree with right there?
Yeah, pretty much agree with you on both Brunson and Cat. I think those are the 2 guys you would want in this game. Unless Hart were to be rolled out, then you're going to want Miles McBride. But yeah, nothing I'm not looking to – these aren't guys I'm like forcing my laps. I agree with you. There's a ton of better point guard plays and center plays than Brunson and Cat. I guess matchup, like macro view wise, this is a good spot for Cat because the Heat are always going to be a 3-point funnel. They want to take away easy rim shots, which just funnels more easier looks to 3-point shooters. The weird thing, though, is Cat hasn't attempted more than 2 3-pointers in a game so far this year. They're kind of looking to post them up more and use him as a more prototypical center, which is not really his game. So for that reason, I probably want to wait and see until he starts to launch more from 3, because Cat is not a fantasy viable asset when he's just being played as like a normal center. The whole appeal of playing Cat is that he's going to be shooting 6-7 threes a game. And then Brunson, I mean, the matchup is much easier than he's faced this season against Terry Rozier. I mean, it's not a great spot because Rozier is a pretty solid defender. The Heat are pretty solid against pick and roll guys. Brunson's minutes have been managed. He's only averaging around 30 a game, but a couple of those are weighted down due to the blowouts. So in a close game, we probably see 38 from Brunson, which he could definitely get there. This game does have a really close spread. So, maybe goes in overtime. You get those extra 5 from Brunson. Nothing I'm really looking to predict, but that is something to consider. So yeah, not really too excited about the Knicks side. I don't think that anybody on the Heat side is really in play for me. Yeah, I'm off of the Heat, I think, entirely.
Yeah, like obviously, if Hero fell in your lineup and you have 150 teams, or Butler or Bam, like these guys can get there. But most people probably watching 5 teams or less, an 8-game slate. I don't think the Heat should be played. Rio agrees. Brunson did get 37 minutes last game, like you mentioned. The first ones got out of hand. The first couple games, seeing 37 Brunson's minutes are nice there. But yeah, I need to see that upside first when we have guys like Paulo we're going to talk about who just dropped 86 piece. Like, I know this dude has upside, which I did not know he had that type of upside before. Granted, 23 free throw attempts, 22. Yeah, that'll help. But, I mean, he was sensational that game, man. Yeah, I mean, we'll get right to it. Paulo, and the ownership's not even crazy. Orlando Magic, Chicago Bulls. We have a 229 total. Magic, 5.5-point favorites. Jonathan Isaac is questionable for the Magic, and Lonzo's out. Jalen Smith questionable for the Bulls. So not much stuff there. In terms of Paulo, though, the Bulls side is going to be low owned. You can see this game in general relatively. Actually, we have Magic guys with a good bit. I think Suggs might be a little lower owned. Paulo, this might be right. Franz is a fair price. Carter's going to get some. Bulls side, yeah, I think probably all these guys will be in single digits. Hard for me to get to the Bulls. We talked about it night one. When this team's healthy, I won't be playing them much. Magic side, though, man. Suggs has been good. Paulo's been good. I know Franz was dealing with the illness, but when he's been healthy, he's been solid. Another viable 5K center as well, 5.6 for Wendell Carter. So talk about the Magic side first, and then if you have any interest in Bulls.
Yeah, I mean, the Bulls are kind of playing like the Pacers right now. They're top of the league in pace, third worst in transition defense, dead last in rim defense, which makes sense because those are kind of like correlating stats. But yeah, I mean, I kind of always have interest in whatever team is playing against the Bulls right now, knowing how fast they're going to be playing. The Magic have always been one of the highest rim frequency scoring teams in the league since they've had Paulo there. So yeah, I definitely have interest in a lot of these guys. I got a question for you. If Paulo was playing in a bigger market, do you think that he would be the new face of the NBA and not like a Anthony Edwards? Or
no, I still don't think he's like. I don't think his game's like that as some of the superstars. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not like. I think his aura or whatever maybe could be like good looking dude. He's big. He's young. He's got like. I just don't think he's like that still on the court, which. He just dropped an 86 piece and proved me wrong, but I still need to see a little more. I mean, they got a squad. Like like it's not the big market, but I mean the Magic are good. He's got players surrounded, so this is the year and stuff to prove me wrong. Like they got to do something in the playoffs. They got expectations.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Anthony Black, they were hyping him up. I mean, another guy that I thought was kind of cheeks last year. I mean, his offense, but he put in the work and obviously really young, good defender. So yeah, this team's solid. I love Jonathan Isaac. The Wagner's always hoop. This team could be fun.
Yeah, I agree. Adding KCP there too, one of the better role players in the league. So I think that they could definitely make some waves in the East this year. But yeah, I've been very, very impressed with Paulo. I think he's rounding into becoming one of the better players in the league right now for sure. But he definitely
top 10.
I don't know.
Morant or him. I'm trying to think like who could be around 10. There's so many great players in the NBA. Like
I'd probably take Paulo over Ja right now. Just I like that. I like that Paulo is becoming a very good passer, good rebounder, pretty solid defender. I like.
Alvin. Yeah, no shit. He's a superstar. Like we're not comparing. I'm not comparing him to absolute bums. Like a lot of people would differ and say Ja. You go through the playoff run when Ja was dropping 40, people were saying he was top 2. Like it's crazy how fast things change. But face of like franchises, I mean, there's Giannis, there's Luka, there's AD. Like there's some big boys still in the NBA. So yeah, I'll respect Paul. He's young. I cheer for all these guys. I don't wish anything bad on any of them. But keep going. 9,100. No shit, he's good.
Yeah, the only negative is that he went to Duke, but. Other than that, he's really fun. Yeah, I mean, I like the spot for these Magic guys for sure. Definitely prefer Paulo just because we've seen from him twice already this season. Not even going to mention how good he was against the Pacers. But yeah, we know that he's got that within the range of outcomes now. Franz returning, looks like he's going to be full go coming off of the injury. Maybe takes a little bit of usage away from Paulo, but not enough for me to want to get off of him. I like both of them a lot. Franz is, like I mentioned last time, really good or improved as a three-point shooter, shooting 45% from three, but always been a really good rim scorer, and the Bulls are weak right there right now. So I think you could play both of them. That one I would probably want to be max one. But I guess it's like a similar situation to Tatum and Brown, so I don't want to set too many hard rules. But yeah, I think Wendell Carter Jr. makes some sense at 5.6K. The minutes have been really good for him, right around 30 per game right now. And then Jaylen Suggs, your boy, been proving me wrong. I didn't know if he had that ceiling in him on a consistent basis, but he showed it. He's been shooting lights out from three the last 2 games, 11 for 26, put up 45 and 47 DK points in those last 2 games. So yeah, I was not a believer in the ceiling, but now I am, and I kind of want to jump on the bandwagon and get some of get some of that money back. But yeah, it's really those top 4 guys. Not looking to get to these secondary pieces. And then on the Chicago side, probably just a max 1 of the entire team right now. They're running a pretty deep rotation. They have a lot of guards that kind of eat into each other. So like if you wanted to float around Vucevic and then just be max 1 White, Levine, Giddey, and Dosunmu, I think that would make some sense. But yeah, I'm not too interested. Probably Levine is the best one because we know that the minute ceiling and usage is probably the best and safest from him.
I was going to say Levine if I had to pick 2. Guard forward eligibility also can push me over the edge. Fair price tag at 7,300 where Vooch picks up center and stuff. So I agree with you, but both sides want to get away from Magic look very good. Last game of this 8-game slate, and then FanDuel does have the games down here. Again, you'll have to be a member or pause it really quick when I scroll down, but it has the 3 games for the nightcap. FanDuel has it. DraftKings does not, and we do have showdown content for tonight's game. Prize is always good. Rio does a great job. Helps a lot of members out there. So if you can't even though there's not really much late swapping with only a 1-hour window, hey, some people are at work during this time, probably not watching the show then, but you still do need to be around your computer in case Ja is out, Hunter, stuff like that. Things change, projections change. Last game of the night, talking about Ja, Memphis Grizzlies, Brooklyn Nets, 226 total. Big boy favorites are the Grizzlies at 12.5. Injury report on this one. Brooklyn side, Claxton's out. On the other side for Memphis, a lot of Q tags. Ja, Edey, Conchar, all questionable. Edey, Ja, definitely very important there. Brooklyn side is getting ownership. There's obviously no doubt about that. We see it on the stone. I mean, this ownership should actually be higher. We're going to see Dennis Schroeder talk about being a beast this year. He's been an absolute monster, has had the ball in his hand a lot. Cam Thomas, we saw the upside night 1. He can absolutely stroke it. I think Cameron Johnson coming off a solid game. All these dudes going to get some bit of ownership. Other side, definitely won't get ownership, especially if Ja plays. So I'd start with Ja because is it worth backloading? They're big favorites. There's a lot of good spots early. Assuming we don't have that news by the first set of games, what are you doing in this one? Because we have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games locked at 7 Eastern today. This game's at 8.
Yeah, I don't know if it's really worth backloading too much because I don't even know if the payoff is going to be enough. Like we saw Bane have a huge game. We saw Scottie Pippen, Scottie Pippen Jr. and Santi Aldama and Bane all had really big games, but they're going to run out 10 guys. So you're not guaranteed to get 36 minutes from them. I do think that Bane would be a really strong play if Ja were to be out, and the Nets are playing really fast right now, which definitely would improve the game environment. But you still have to get the guys right that are going to be playing the most minutes, which has been tough. And Scottie Pippen Jr. is no longer a screaming value at 5.9K. He didn't even play that much.
He didn't start.
Yeah, he didn't start. It was great. I mean, he was great from a fantasy perspective off the bench, but yeah. So I don't know. I would definitely like Bane the most if Ja were to be out. If we get news that Ja is in, then I kind of think that the Grizzlies are an easy X out for me.
What about Edey? Does he do like Brandon Clark? He was in our life for 1 second. Does he?
It's a Jay Huff show, apparently.
Okay, what about Jay Huff?
Yeah, I mean, if Edey's out, I kind of have interest in Jay Huff regardless, just because Brooklyn's playing really fast. I don't think that ED is really capable of keeping up with those game environments right now. And it seems like Jay Huff kind of more is. He's been, I mean, the minutes have been good for him. He's playing right around 18 to 20 a night. He scored no less than 18 and a half fantasy points in all 4 of those games. Yeah, I mean, if ED
center, man.
Yeah.
How many shots do you think he'll take? You'll need 150. I mean, who's the pivot around there? There really isn't. You need it in the flex. He's 4K. I guess you could go to like Dorian Finney-Smith.
Yeah, that wouldn't be the worst. You could go to Clowney too if Clowney starts.
Yeah, one of those two. I'd probably save the 200, but center's so good. Like, yeah, that's interesting. Are you gonna have any? You think Huff? Assuming we don't have the news and Edie's still Q-Tech.
I doubt it. Yeah, I really doubt it because I don't know if I see myself getting to too much of these Brooklyn guys like a Dorian Finney-Smith or Clowney or Zaire. So that would those would be the only teams that I could pivot to Huff if I wanted to. Is I would need to have one of those 3 guys. So I don't see myself getting too into those ones. I definitely prefer the guys up top like Cam Thomas, Schroeder, and Cameron Johnson. But yeah, Cam Thomas should be in a pretty good spot here. The Grizzlies have been very bad defensively. Marcus Smart has been not as good as years prior. Shot volume is going to be there. I think that he might go. I mean, I'm seeing some pretty high ownership on him right now. On
all those guys are going to get some.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that he's what we have right now. They're going to come in a little bit higher than that. I would imagine.
All of them, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, let's
just say like 18, 13, 16, 15. 15, like Zaire is going to be 14. Like I think they're all Schroeder the highest, and then from there they're all getting low teens, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I would say that like Cam Thomas, pretty much the same price as Jordan Poole, looks like a pretty strong pivot. If just trying to if you have the best lineup that you can make and you have Poole and you're just looking like, okay, let me get off of one guy because I need to salvage some chalk, then maybe going to Cam Thomas would make some sense. And he's got the price has come down a little bit on him. It went down on Cam Thomas and Schroeder, but up on Cameron Johnson, which is interesting. But yeah, Schroeder, the role has been really good for him. He's running this offense, usage and touch time. All assist numbers look really good for him. So I'm totally fine with him. I don't think that like any of these guys are going to be limited on a back-to-back, but they did go to overtime. So, something to consider. But I mean, even like 32, 33 minutes from Schroeder is plenty for him to hit value at 5.9K. I like the matchup a lot for Cam Johnson because the Grizzlies have been a huge 3-point funnel defense so far this season, giving up a ton of catch and shoot scoring. Cam Johnson, one of the better catch and shoot scorers in the league, definitely the best on the net. So I like him a good bit. And then I guess like Finney-Smith should be in your player pool at power forward, center eligible because he can get there. Just needs to hit a couple threes and get those rebounds and some steals. But yeah, I mean, the game environment in this one should be good. I see the Grizzlies running out so many guys that it's kind of tough to want to invest in them.
Yeah, that's mainly the main thing in DFS. Like I always mention over-unders, spreads are important. Obviously, you want games to stay close so you get full run from your guys. But rotations and bodies is the main thing in NBA DFS. Feels like some clear games. That was all 8 of them on the main slate to target. I think this Raptors-Hornets game is a very good game. Lakers-Cavs didn't seem like great. Celtics-Pacers didn't seem very good. Sixers-Pistons, thought there's solid plays on both sides. Good game. Hawks-Wizards, probably the game of the night, especially in ownership, as you see on the Stone. Great game to target. Knicks-Heat, not great. Magic-Bulls, Magic side good. Bulls side bad. Nets-Grizzlies, a couple Nets guys I think are in play. Grizzlies not so much. That's a quick overview of the slate for me, Rio. What are your final thoughts after you're sipping some, what should be water, looked like soda after you just spoke for a long time? So great info. Maybe that wasn't soda. Maybe, yeah, you don't drink soda like that. Maybe that was something else. What was
that? The healthy soda, the little Olipop.
Oh, Olipops. Maddie drinks that shit all the time. Is that cream soda one?
Cream soda, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the stuff. It doesn't hit the same as soda, or as you guys probably say in the West, pop.
No,
the Midwest.
Yeah, up in the UP they do, but hey, Olipop, Maddie will like that. Cream soda one's fine, but what are your final thoughts on the slate, Rio?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of questions on Marvin Bagley tonight because I think that he might be popping in a few projections around the industry. He played one rotation last game and then didn't. He played 3 minutes at the end of the first quarter and then didn't see the court for the rest of the game. So yeah, I mean, I don't know where he fits within the future plans for this Washington team. So I'm not really going to get to any Bagley tonight. What about you?
No, don't play Marvin Bagley tonight. There's a lot of great plays on the slate. Like his floor seems very low, and I don't even know what the ceiling is. He does it power forward eligibility, but still way better plays.
Yeah, agreed.
We mentioned
we mentioned Roddy. You got to go back to that game if you want to get our thoughts on that Atlanta game. We talked about that one in depth. Yeah, no, I don't really have any more thoughts. I really like the slate tonight. Definitely going to be kind of condensing my player pool around a few game environments, I would imagine. Yeah, I think there's some pretty. I like how there's no true studs. Like there's no Giannis's or Jokic or Luka tonight, so we should be able to build some pretty high upside rosters tonight, which I always love to do.
Absolutely. Good stuff as always, my man Rio. Everybody out there, good luck tonight. Got an hour of Rio talking ball. If you want some more NBA Slate Plan, he also writes a bunch as well. Awesome content in there. Showdown content will be up later tonight. The Slate Plan MLB Showdown has some World Series action that will be up. Projections up as well. Everything NBA in Shiptimizer as well. NFL going on tomorrow. MMA this week. NHL going on tonight. I think college football is damn near every night. All the sports going on. No better price. $85 gets you everything on the site. Gets you Discord and all the Shiptimizer. If you just want all the content, no Shiptimizer, $58 a month also gets you in the Discord. NBA 15, the promo code if you want to go. Join the nation. All of our deals right there. Just plug in NBA 15. Gets you 15% off. Rio, great job as always. Good luck tonight. You will be back Friday talking. No, you won't be back. Ham and BJ will be back talking Friday or talking hoops on Friday. We'll be back tomorrow talking some NFL. Good luck, everybody. Stay safe out there. For Rio, I'm Titletown. Peace.